Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I had a couple people ask if I could kind of talk about how I deal with aggression in my tank. I guess they see my tank and they don't, they see some larger predator haps and they don't see them going at each other, so they wonder how I do it. What you don't see is that there is aggression in this tank. It's just when I'm doing these videos, I'm here by the tank, the fish see me, so they're focused on me and getting fed, and they're not focused on how they normally behave. Sometimes, if I just check around the corner and they don't see me, I'll see them going at each other. It's nothing, normally it's nothing bad. You don't see a lot of fish in here with nipped up fins or anything. But they're going to go at each other no matter what you do if you have an all-male tank, and probably even if you have a species-only tank, the two males are going to have to deal with each other. Anyway, there are a few things that I do when I do run into aggression that kind of gets beyond that, that to try to curb it. Doesn't always work, but usually it kind of helps out a bit. First off, just going in, you have to understand that you're going to have aggression, and there's sometimes nothing you can do about it. These are animals that were naturally born to be in a lake with no boundaries. So if they have issues, they can get away from each other. So you're taking animals like that and you're putting them in a glass box. So there's no real escape for them. I think it starts to help the aggression by having a bigger tank. This is a 220. I can tell you when I had a 125, I had significantly more aggression than I have in the 220. So I think that helps to start with. A few other things, you can see I keep my tank pretty bare. I try to give the fish as few things to fight over as possible. I try to avoid giving them spots where they can claim as territory. Sometimes I do have, down in that corner down there, the anagenus will kind of claim that spot and hang out down there. And if anyone gets close, he'll come out at them. And even the same thing over in there. So I try to keep it as bare as possible. That seems to help a bit. Sometimes when there is some aggression, I'll kind of rearrange these stones. I don't know that does a whole lot because obviously it doesn't add up to much. Sometimes I'll put them to the side. Sometimes I'll stack them to the middle. That can help a bit, I suppose. I keep my tank a little warmer. I keep it at 80, a little over 80 degrees. That's just where I feel like my fish do well. That can kind of induce aggression, though. It keeps their metabolism up and it keeps them more active, but that can also lead to them being more aggressive to each other, at least from what I've read and also from what I've seen. When I run into a big issue that I'm having trouble taking care of as far as aggression, and moving stones around isn't working, and none of the normal things that you would do is working, like feeding more, I'll lower the temperature in the tank down to like 77. I'll do it gradually over about a day or two, and I'll leave it there for 3 to 5 days sometimes. Lower temperature just kind of seems to take all the life out of the fish. I'm not sure it's super healthy for them, but that's why I do it very, very slowly and gradually over, like I said, a day or two period. But it just seems to slow their metabolism down. It slows them down. I guess it kind of just changes their mindset, and that almost works every single time. The only time that I've really had an issue that I just couldn't deal with and I had to sell the fish is if you go back to my previous videos, I had a big Bucochromis lepturus green, and he was awesome. But man, he just got it in him that he was not going to tolerate a couple of the fish I had in the tank, and nothing that I did, I took him out of the tank, I put him in a 10-gallon for a couple weeks. I mean, I did everything that you could think of doing, and it made no difference. The second he went back in the tank, he didn't miss a beat. He went hard at the first fish he saw, and I just wasn't going to let him start killing fish off, because it would have ended up being him on taking up 80% of the tank, and every other fish in the tank was crammed in one little corner. So sometimes you just have to cut your losses and sell the fish, rehome the fish or something. Other typical or more normal tips that you can do that I've never really had to do a ton as far as dealing with aggression, and you can find most of online, is adding more fish. If you crowd them, it makes it hard for one fish to become a target. Obviously if they're hungry, they're going to be more aggressive. They're just going to be fighting over food, so making sure they're well fed is a pretty obvious one as well. So again, I didn't really research this topic before I wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to give my own perspective and purely my own experience on that. Maybe you've done something that works a lot better, and maybe if you try something that I've done, it doesn't work for you at all and it backfires. these things are such case by case basis. I've had several people ask again, how do you keep the predator haps from fighting each other all the time? And truth be told, I saw more aggression when I had peacocks such as Lawanda and Jacob Freibergei, and especially in Buna. I saw much more aggression out of those two than I see out of my haps in general. But maybe one of these days I'll set up the camera and kind of record the tank while I'm in here, and I'll keep it recording when I leave, and you can see their change in behavior. They'll start, they'll ignore me now that I'm gone, and they'll start focusing on each other again and behaving a little bit more like you'd expect to see, with the dominant male chasing the other ones and stuff like that. So maybe I'll do that in the future. Let me know what works for you guys. I've got a lot of fish in here that still aren't full grown, so I'm gonna run into aggression as I go. There's no doubt about it. So any tip that I can have, available to me is certainly welcome. Maybe some of the tips I used could help you. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.